Okay, we'll follow that if I can. I have been asked to come and talk to you today about rebuilding trust in the banking sector, as you can see. So hopefully you can all hear me okay. Obviously the headlines, the whole city must work to rebuild trust destroyed by a rotten few. So yes, admittedly a UK banking reference, but it goes across the world and different countries in different to different extent. Oops. So the erosion of trust in society, the breakdown of society, we hear about it, and again, particularly being British, our media constantly reminding us of this. But the breakdown of British society is prevalent, but again, a point that goes across the world. The mistrust of politicians, Obama promising to change and change for the better. UK MPs and their expenses paying for things like duck houses and et cetera, Berlusconi with the tax fraud, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, probably better not go there. But again, he stepped down from the IMF. There's this constant stream of erosion of our confidence in people that actually traditionally we all trusted and looked up to and respected. In addition to that, as if that wasn't enough, we have the phone hacking, both in the UK and in the US, again by the media, but also most recently, and hopefully you haven't succumbed to this as well, but this brand misrepresentation. So we have Findus in the Findus, Tesco, various other brands that people genuinely trust and believed they were buying beef when it now appears that they were buying horse meat or pork. So again, as I say, this ongoing erosion of trust is a big issue for us. In banking, we've heard about this already. Obviously, there's the financial crisis, starting with the US subprime, Lehman Brothers, LIBOR, money laundering, and the bank's role in society as well, that's changed. So for instance, in the UK, a branch closed every 48 hours in 2011. Now again, I grew up in an environment where there really was a bank in every town, in every village, pretty much. And again, in Turkey, you drive along the streets, as you know, and there's branches everywhere. Is that changing? Is that change happening? It's happening all over the world. How is that going to impact us? But this leaves trust in banks, in particular, at an all-time low. And so you can see here from Millward Brown, trust in the top 100 most valuable brands around the world, all brands, and then banks, sadly, very much declined over the last 5 years. But this is also allowing new entrants to come into the marketplace. So, traditionally there were the big players, and we knew who the banks were. And again, in most markets that was predictable. It had been that way for years. But actually what we're starting to see is supermarkets, service brands, Google, all starting to come into our financial sector in a way that 10 years ago would have been just unheard of. And also, obviously, our brands, City included, but we're expanding to different markets. And again, Santander, Commerce Bank in the form of Metro Bank, they're coming in. So it's not just new service sectors, but it's also best practice from other countries as well. But let's not forget, very importantly, our customers. And if it wasn't for our customers, we wouldn't be here. But actually, their behaviour is changing as well. So if we think about how we behave, the last time I went into my local branch was literally years ago. And I'm not that atypical by the sound of the statistics. So in 2012, a quarter of internet users access bank sites globally. And you can see that follows not just in North America, where everybody thinks of them as being very digitally savvy, but also very much here in Europe, but across the board, it's coming. And we're becoming increasingly mobile, and in Turkey you know that more than many countries actually. But smartphones are transforming the way we work. Whether it's a BlackBerry, whether it's an iPhone, we're using it for every day, whether it's grocery shopping, whether it's banking, whatever we want to do. We're checking out which restaurants to go to or how to get there. It really is transforming the way we work. And again, engagement with money apps in Europe, the proportion of online population using banking and finance apps at least once a month, you can see how this is increasing over time too. Obviously, as you can see, Turkey and Russia leading the way as far as our region is concerned. But customers are hungry for more. It isn't as though they've reached saturation. So this is where the need for innovation is absolutely vital in everything we do. And so how can we build this trust? I've already mentioned innovation, but actually let's not fall into the trap of innovation for innovation's sake. It needs to be customer focused. But rebuilding this trust is a vital thing to do. We've already seen about the market cap of Akbank and various other brands. But strong brands do lead to consistently higher share prices. And again here, from brand Z, you can see that 37.5% here of the brands are outperforming the market value. So sorry, that's the top 100 brands. Most of you will probably be familiar with "we must try harder" as an end line, and absolutely, banks must try harder. We really must try harder. A brand management from the top down, so that's why again it's great to hear our CEO of Akbank really driving this throughout the organisation, because that's what we all need to be doing, and increasingly so. But it's not just, as indeed the CEO of Barclays recently announced, which you may have heard of, it's all about doing the right thing for the customer and having the ethical code of conduct about respect, etc. But it's really driving that through the organisation. So from the top to the bottom, everybody knows very much about what they stand for. So just some thoughts on the sort of things that I think we should be focusing on as an industry is developing product parity with leading consumer brands. And it's one of the things that I think as financial services we're particularly bad at doing, in that we look at each other. And actually what we forget is we as customers, we actually shop, whether it's, we interact with brands in all different categories. So think about retail, think about the sort of experience you have there. Think about whether it's telephony. So when you're talking to your telephone provider, what sort of service do you get there? We need to be looking much further than just who our immediate competition are for financial services in order to get best practice. Here I've mentioned Virgin Atlantic. Again, they came in very much as a challenger brand years ago into the aviation space. So the legacy airlines really had to actually try and then suddenly compete in a completely different way of doing things. So chauffeur-driven cars suddenly would pick you up if you flew business class. That wouldn't have happened prior. But actually to them that was something that was very core to their brand about making their customers' journey much easier. And again, it was taken from other sectors. Apple, again, they came and completely transformed the user experience in the technology field. And John Lewis, a British brand who, I don't know whether, have any of you heard of John Lewis? Yeah, okay, a couple of hands I'm seeing around the room. But again, a British brand who are doing particularly well, who I'll come on to in just a moment. But it's very much about the whole product experience. It's about the service experience. So, the limo collecting you from your door. They're not charging any extra for that. That's all part and parcel of what they do as a brand. Leading opinion formers' views, staff training. Again, let's not forget that actually we have thousands of employees, depending on the side of the bank, whether it be here in Turkey or around the world, that actually should be advocates for our brand and should be embodying what we want to stand for as a brand, really believing it. And again, it's often forgotten about. Relationship management, brand quality and integration, again, these are all things that it's very easy to forget about when we're in the nitty-gritty of our day-to-day lives. And finally on this point is reputations are formed and held in the minds of the public or our customers. We have all the best intentions of wanting our brand to stand for something, but actually unless we do all of these things, our customers won't necessarily see us in this way. And this is really where we've been falling victim to a lot of the hiccups, shall we say, along the way. The second point I'll raise is giving a reason to choose one bank over another. So giving our customers this reason to choose. And Bill Bernbach, who founded DDB Advertising, who many of you may be familiar with, but I love this quote: if you stand for something, you have people for and against you. If you stand for nothing, you have neither. So, let's make sure that we really stand for something, give people a reason to choose us and a reason to continue choosing us. And actually, again, our sector often is price-led, rather like the technology sector, but it's price-led, it's technical specifications of our products. But actually, when you look at the research, the customers want to buy that reason to choose you. They want to know that you stand for something. And actually, that gets you on the shopping list. So whether they're looking for a credit card or a loan or a mortgage or any other product, if they know what you stand for and they like those values, then actually they're more likely to check out whether you have that product. So it does at least get you onto that consideration list as well. And now I'm going to take you I mentioned John Lewis earlier. I'll ask you to think about how many products this particular advertisement is suggesting. She says, if I can remember how to play it.
Dreams are like angels, they keep at bay. Love is the light scaring darkness away. I'm so in love with you. Make love your home. The power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. Flaming the desire, love with tongues of fire, purge the soul, make love your make love your goal.
So maybe I just went a little mad in deciding to put a TV spot of a retailer. Maybe I just got confused which forum I was speaking at. But actually, the reason for showing it to you is, what are they selling? Arguably a coat, arguably I have gone mad, arguably a scarf, gloves, and a hat. But actually that isn't what they're selling. What they're selling is a point of view. What they're selling is what they stand for, that they understand their customers. And actually when you look at their sales, when you look at their share price, they're outperforming many in what is a very competitive and very tough sector. And I think that's what, in fact, that's the reason why I wanted to share it with you, is yes, it's beautifully produced, and of course, being an advertising person, I love it. Actually, I love it because it gives you a reason to put John Lewis onto your shopping list. So whether you're looking for a hat, scarf and gloves, or whether you're looking for a washing machine, or whether you're looking for a financial services product, I'd check out John Lewis first, because I think they get me as a customer, and I think that's what we need to be focusing on as the banking sector and as banking brands. And then the third area is being really customer focused, and again, this was coming out very strongly earlier. But typically as a sector, I'd argue that we're very much inside out oriented. We think about how we can come up with a great new product, and then we try and find the audience to buy it. So yes, I'm being a little harsh on us, but actually really the brands that are transforming their categories are the brands such as Apple, such actually as John Lewis, who are really looking at the customers and understanding the customer needs and really understanding their lifestyles, and then trying to build the products in order to help solve that customer need. So again, I urge us all as a sector to start thinking about how we can do that far more, and genuinely putting the customer at the centre of our product development and our service development. But it all needs to be aligned as well, and this is really my final point, is, you know, we need to be thinking about strategically what we should be doing, absolutely. Communicating that, and again, this is what Barclays have just done, is they've said what they're going to be doing, they're going to be standing for something, but actually now they need to deliver. And remember the point about customers very much view you from their personal experience. It's in their heads that they will form that opinion of us. So we need to be making sure that whatever we say we're going to do, we genuinely deliver when we're standing for something. And if we follow that, we stand an extremely good chance of regaining that trust in the banking sector and with our brands. So what a company stands for, how it acts, how it communicates, are all important to stakeholder opinion. The foundation stones needed for company to acquire what is probably the most prized stakeholder motivator, trust, a quote I particularly like. So in conclusion, trust in the banking is at an all-time low. We all know that, that's no new news. Rebuilding trust is vital to move forwards, because we know that it really drives our stakeholder value and shareholder value. But 4 key areas to focus on is just elevating the holistic product to the level of leading consumer brands. So let's think outside our sector. Providing the public with a reason to choose the brand, and differentiation, in other words, will become competitive necessity. Transitioning the culture, again, very easy to say, very challenging to do, but we have to be determined to transition and genuinely deliver an evolution of our culture to become truly customer focused in the way other companies are, such as Apple, as I mentioned. And be consistent in everything that we say and everything that we do. And obviously no financial services presentation could come to an end without the T's and C's. So thank you very much indeed. I hope that was interesting.